Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. As the Parliament deadlock entered its third week of the monsoon session, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju today reached out to the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, in a bid to find a way out of the logjam. Now, what sources have said that Rijiju met Rahul Gandhi in his chamber shortly after the Lok Sabha was adjourned, within minutes of assembling amid opposition sloganeering. According to the sources, Rijiju sought Congress's cooperation on the Delimitation Bill and the Women's Reservation Amendment Bill that the government is keen to bring again in the current session. Rahul Gandhi, what we are told, however, has rejected the government's request outright. And the leader of the opposition told Kiren Rijiju there can be no business in the House until there is a discussion on the alleged donation theft or at the Ram Temple, and also nothing less as by Home Minister Amit Shah on the police action against the students during the July 20th police crackdown. That's what the sources have been saying. But I want to show you some pictures of the protest outside the Makar Dwar in Parliament. And this picture, which you see, actually became one of the top trending posters today. And in that particular poster, Rahul Gandhi says, "Who gave the orders?" And if you look at the poster closely, the one which Rahul Gandhi is holding in his hand, it shows the 19-year-old Sahil Lochab, who was fired at with a pellet gun, and this particular poster became a huge talking point. And Rahul Gandhi put out a tweet along with this poster. Let's show what Rahul Gandhi wrote in his tweet. If we can play out Rahul Gandhi's tweet, Abhirami, if you're there backstage, what Rahul Gandhi wrote, and I'm just going to read that out. Okay, I'm just reading that out. The country's home minister is hiding his face because he's guilty of the students' crimes. And if you look at that poster, it clearly shows that this is what, and X initially said that this is a graphic content, so it doesn't appear on screen, but when you press the show button, then the poster appears over there, and he actually holds Amit Shah directly responsible for that. So the heat continues on Home Minister Amit Shah. How will the government find a solution to break this deadlock? Because Rahul Gandhi has categorically said that we will not agree to anything less than a reply coming in from Home Minister Amit Shah on the police crackdown, and also a discussion on the Ram Temple issue. How will this deadlock break? Will Amit Shah buckle in? Those are the million-dollar questions, and we'll try and discuss all of this. But just before the discussion, I'd like to give you a little brief on what the pellet gun victim, Prashant Kumar Singh, whose name has appeared, that he was the fifth pellet gun victim, and he has told various news websites that apparently he knows of a sixth protester who was shot in Delhi. So until now, we knew that there were only 5 victims, but now instead of 5, Prashant Kumar has said that there is a sixth pellet gun victim as well. And he says that we do not, but he very clearly remembers that there was another victim apart from the 5 which have been made official so far. So we'll try and discuss all of this. Joining me this evening is Javed Ansari, senior journalist and political commentator. Thank you so much, Javed, for joining. We have TK Rajlakshmi, senior journalist and political commentator. Thank you so much for joining. We have Professor Tanveer Ejaz from Ramjas College of the Delhi University. Thank you so much, Tanveer, for joining. And we have ex-ADG BSF, Sanjeev Sood, also joins us. Thank you so much, Mr. Sood, for joining. And let me begin with Javed. That was this a surprise meeting? Because everywhere the sources are quoted that it was like some 45 to 50 minutes meeting which Kiren Rijiju today had with Rahul Gandhi, where he said that the opposition should cooperate as far as the Delimitation Bill and the Women's Reservation Bill is concerned. And Rahul Gandhi apparently has said a categorical no to it. So do you see this deadlock being resolved from either side, whether it's the government or the opposition? Yes, Javed.
Well, the only way the deadlock, it's very easy to resolve the deadlock in Parliament. Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister of India, should come to Parliament and give his reply, answer you know, and they should have a discussion, a debate on the chanda chori that has taken place in the Ram temple. If that happens, there will be no reason for the opposition to hold out any longer, and the gridlock will be broken, hopefully. But the government must, sending an emissary, sending Mr. Rijiju, who has now emerged as the interface between the government and the opposition, and whenever there is a standoff in Parliament, will not do. Mr. In question is the fact that whether or not a union minister is he or is he not accountable to the Parliament of India. What is parliamentary democracy all about? If you cannot hold the government responsible, if you cannot enforce accountability, let Mr. let Mr. Amit Shah come to Parliament and explain his case. If he has a case to defend, let him come and defend the indefensible there. Let him come and say what he has to say, and let there be a debate, a full-fledged debate on both issues, on the police firing and excesses that took place on the
No, but
20th
Javed,
of last month.
What Rahul Gandhi Javed pointed out in his tweet in very clear terms, the country's home minister is hiding his face because he's guilty of the students' crimes. Now, if I may ask you, you've got decades of parliament experience. Looking at the way Amit Shah has been coming to the parliament, but he's not been attending the house at all, and he's just not ready to answer questions on the police crackdown. Do you think that under this pressure, a person like Amit Shah, who is being held guilty by a leader of the opposition in the boldest words, is he going to buckle down? Will he agree to give a reply at all?
Well, if he doesn't give a reply, then the gridlock will continue. He has another option, which is try and make some inroads, try and wean away inroads into the opposition ranks, try and wean away some parties, and try and isolate the Congress party. But at the moment, on this issue, the opposition is standing firm. The SP, the Congress party, and the original Trinamool Congress, and all the other parties, even the DMK for that matter, which has a grouse against, which is very peeved with the Congress party in the manner in which the Congress left the alliance and went and joined TVK, but all of them appear to be standing firm. So either this gridlock will continue, or Parliament will not function, or Mr. Amit Shah will be forced. You cannot stand on prestige in Parliament. Parliament is way bigger than any individuals and their egos. There is the principle of accountability. You got to appear before Parliament. It's not as if Parliament will pass a verdict saying that you should be thrown out of your job. But hold yourself accountable. You cannot be above Parliament. And you have, unless to do that,
True.
I don't. There are only two. Either Mr. Amit Shah agrees, or they try and break away the opposition parties, cause a split, yet another split in the opposition ranks, which at the moment does not seem possible.
Right. So you rightly put out that the split in the opposition ranks doesn't appear likely. But coming to you, Raj Lakshmi, what Rahul Gandhi said, and I want to go into the merit of what he tweeted. He said that country's home minister is hiding his because he's guilty of the students' crime. This is what Rahul Gandhi says. But if you look at the things from Amit Shah's perspective, the very fact that he's been evading the House for so many weeks now, it's into the third week of Parliament we are in. Do you think that Amit Shah is already guilty in the eyes of the people, in the eyes of the students?
See, the issue of pellet guns has also reached the doors of the Supreme Court. In fact, one of the petitioners includes Mr. Azad, who's a former IPS officer himself, and so this issue has reached the doors of the Supreme Court, as I said, and the Supreme Court has also said that it should be used only in exceptional circumstances, while it has not it didn't say anything in favor of a complete ban on the use of pellet guns, but it said that there should be no graded response and that it should be in exceptional circumstances. Now it seems that the Delhi police, uh, it did not have the standing orders to authorize them to use, the pellet guns, which were in fact metallic pellet guns, and not of plastic. This is what Brinda Grover said in the court, and therefore there are some gray areas which only the home minister of this country can answer, isn't it? So it's not that all the answers are going to come through a petition in the court. Of course, the outcome of it it's still sort of awaited, but here we have a situation where these guns have been used, and almost people people face the risk of losing their eyes, at least in the case of one person. I mean, I don't know about the others, but therefore some amount, not some amount, I think like a larger amount of accountability is expected on part of the country's home minister, because obviously Delhi police comes under him. And if those standing orders, I mean, if Delhi police did not have standing orders authorizing it to use the pellet guns, then it's a very serious issue. So I think it's pretty much legit of the for the opposition to ask these questions, and to say that it's not only us who sort of need answers, but the country needs answers. The youth, to whom now a lot of outreach activity is taking place on part of the BJP and the RSS, they also need answers as to why the use of disproportionate force was deployed against them. Okay, and now, so in fact, let Amit Shah say that it was a violent mob, or it was an armed mob, or in fact let him say that it was an unarmed mob, and maybe the police did not anticipate, or did not calculate, or did not were not prepared. I'm saying that a zillion things can be said. Okay, okay, and they can be debated, and they can be agreed and not agreed upon. But by not coming to parliament and not speaking at all on this, then people have reason to doubt, and say and feel that the government has something to hide, and that something has
Right. In
not.
fact, you
Yeah.
mentioned, Rajlakshmi, you mentioned about the Supreme Court. Just to give a perspective to the viewers, today
Mm.
also there was a hearing in the Supreme Court where there was another petitioner who has urged Supreme Court not to allow the withdrawal of cases against the student protesters. Now, all these petitions will be bunched together, and now there's going to be the next hearing on 18th of August. But this petition, which was filed, is very interesting. It says, tomorrow, Generation Alpha, Beta, Delta will come. And this is what the petitioner has warned the Supreme Court today while opposing any political decision to withdraw criminal cases against Gen Z student protesters, arguing that doing so would set a dangerous precedent for future agitations. The plea seeks directions restraining the union government and states from withdrawing the rioting cases arising out of the recent student protests solely on the basis of any political understanding. Now, this was a bench of Chief Justice Surikant, Justice Joy Malia Bakshi, and Justice V. Mohana. They tagged all these matters along with the cases which were concerning the student protests, and now the next hearing is going to be held on 18th of August. Now, what would you say to petitions like these, Rajlakshmi, very quickly, and then I'll come to Mr.
Yeah,
Sood.
they're
Yes.
frivolous, Nilu. They're absolutely frivolous. So what happens to the right to dissent? So what happens to the right to protest, which is a part of the fundamental right of speech, freedom of speech and expression? I mean, it's a part of that. So then we might stop, calling ourselves, democracy. Then, I mean, if these basic rights are not allowed, I mean, if you are not happy with the government's policies, I think everybody in this country has a right to say that I don't agree with this government's policies, and therefore I have a right to sort of protest peacefully. Of course, call to arms, is a different thing. I mean, if that petition says that people who are armed and that they should not be allowed to protest, I mean, it's a different issue. Okay, but here we have petition that says that no, 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 that no such protest should be allowed. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I hope that the Supreme Court does not even entertain at this kind of
No, in
stage.
fact,
So,
just to
yeah.
extend from the point where you stopped, the petitioner has also said that where is the accountability of the so-called organizers? I'm saying so-called organizers because it is not a registered organization. And obviously, this was a veiled reference to the Cockroach Janta Party, which called for the protest against the union
Yeah.
Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan.
But that's
And
also ridiculous, Nilu. Frankly,
yes,
that's also a ridiculous proposition. How can one know, in advance that so and so antisocial element is not going to be part of that? Now, as far as the organizers were concerned, they did say right from the beginning that we have to protest, peacefully, and there was emphasis, on the word peacefully, 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 right? And that हमें आराम से करना है, हमें बिल्कुल peacefully करना है. If that said, आप लोग करिए जो करना है, I mean, it's a different issue, and you can't anticipate, so many people who come, all kinds of people will come, and be part of this kind of a thing. So you can't really anticipate, beforehand, that
right,
some things, might not
right.
happen.
Let
And,
me
and
let
in any
me
case, nothing happened. I mean, of that
right.
untoward, nature. Yeah.
Right. Let me get in Mr. Sood now because interesting observations are coming in from the Supreme Court hearing which happened. I'm just quoting the petitioner. He says, farmers were at the Shambhu border. Tomorrow, generation Alpha, Beta, Delta will come. The people at the Shambhu border tomorrow, they will come to the parliament with the tractors. Tomorrow, people from Shaheen Bagh will come to the parliament. If 500 people entered the parliament, who knows they were not carrying a country made gun or a country made bomb. The parliament security is not made to handle 500 people. It is a more sophisticated force, and they would have opened fire. What would have happened? And then Chief Justice said that the situation requires to be handled carefully, and the youngsters need counseling and assurance that they are being listened to. And I'm quoting the CJI, what exactly he said, that the police need to exercise a great deal of restraint to ensure that the situation does not go out of hand if some incident takes place. We need to tread very carefully so that the youngsters don't indulge in violence. The better course is to counsel them and pacify them that the most powerful source is listening. This is what CGI said. But coming back to Mr. Sood now, uh, are we going to get the answers as to who gave the orders? That is what the underlining crux of Rahul Gandhi's poster was, that who has ordered the firing of the pellet guns and AK-47 in general. Uh, are we going to get the answers? And now that we know that there is a sixth pellet gun victim as well, according to the interview which is given by this visual artist, Prashant Kumar Singh.
See, uh, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
See, as per the GD entry in one of the thanas in central Delhi, the orders were given by the DCP of the area. That having been said, that is on record. The DCP, under these circumstances, in my view, would not take the risk of giving such an order. It must have come verbally to him. Under these circumstances, verbal orders do happen. They're always given. The orders must have come from him, from the commissioner of police directly, and commissioner of police works directly under the home minister. So it is apparent that the orders, even though not formally recorded, must have come from the home minister himself. Uh, you see, and therefore the orders were passed on to RAF. And then the question also is of the the manner in which the orders were complied with. You see, the instructions are for minimum use of force, and the pellet guns, when they were used in Kashmir and when there were a lot of casualties, many people lost their eyes and all. The orders given were that you aim only at the lower limbs. Why didn't the local commander ensure that pellet guns were used only aiming downwards, aiming at the road or at the lower limbs? That is one. Number two, uh, in the graded response, this should have been ensured. And in my view, informal orders have come from the home minister, but formally the RAF has recorded that it has come from the DCP. That is my point of view on this. And the protesters in general were peaceful. And as you said, as somebody said, the organizers' key liability. See, organizers, as it is, should have ensured that, or should have ensured that they did not anticipate so much of crowd assembling there. Even the government did not anticipate so much of crowd assembling there. And frankly speaking, I am of the opinion that CJP was a propped up organization, and the government and the CJP leadership did not anticipate that they will be able to assemble so much of crowd, and handling such large crowd for a small force, including those from the other organization, is always going to be a difficult job. So therefore, it is the uh, starting from beginning, it is the failure of intelligence. It is the people who should have provided intelligence to the police. They failed in doing it. And then from where did those stones, etc., came? The truck filled with stones, etc., came. So probably the aim was to instigate violence, which somehow uh, got shelved because of the discovery of these stones and broken vehicles prior to even the protest march taking place. So things are complicated. There are many things behind the shadow, uh, and what is in our uh, view is that 6 people have been injured and wrongly injured. They should not have used those pellet guns, and there are no instructions, as has been brought out in the Supreme Court. There are only some instructions about pellet guns in the normal course is not on the authorized equipment of police. In some states, it may have been given to the police to fight against the militants like Kashmir, Manipur, maybe the most impacted areas. So, in normal course, Delhi police does not have pellet guns. They had the support of RAF, which also reports to the MHA. So the orders to RAF came from DCP, which must have percolated down in an informal manner from the
No, but
commissioner and
Mrs. Sood,
on
according
top
if
of.
Mrs. Sood, if you read what Prashant Kumar Singh has told the media people, it's heart wrenching. He's got so many pellets in his body that he can't be operated upon, and the doctors have said that if there's a major surgery if he has to undergo, then he might lose a large portion of his muscles, and he might get even paralyzed. So, who is going to take accountability for this? There are no answers, and even if the DCP has fired, or if it has happened at the directions of the Home Minister, and now that we know that it's not 5 but there are 6 pellet gun victims, somebody will have to take the responsibility, or we can just let these victims now suffer in the hospital.
It is going in the system that we have. The seniors who actually ordered will abdicate their responsibility. As it is being seen, the Home Minister is not coming to the Parliament to respond to
Yes.
the questions that are being asked. So seniors who actually ordered will abdicate the responsibility. The person who actually fired and who ordered firing will be the scapegoats. And insofar as the victims are concerned, I mean, I pity their plight. Uh, I don't know. I don't think that government is going to come up to help them. Maybe some social organization would help them recover, etc. Government, in my view, is not going to help them recover.
Right. All right. Tanvir, now how do you see the situation politically and legally? And there are challenges. Political answers we are not getting. Amit Shah is evading the parliament. No matter how much pressure the opposition may have applied, the government just doesn't seem to be buckling down. In fact, look at the priority of the government. Kiren Rijiju is reaching out to the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, so that they can easily pass the delimitation and the women's reservation bill. What does that go to show? And Rahul Gandhi says that no, we will not agree for anything until we get answers on the police crackdown and also the Ram Temple theft. So, is the priority misplaced somewhere totally? Is the government really bothered about what has happened to the students, no matter how many reels Prime Minister Modi may have made and said that, okay, I'm forgiving the children, the youths?
I think the government at the moment is just simply trying to brush this whole protest movement under the carpet. They're just simply sort of discrediting the protest movement. They are trying to, say that nothing much has happened and let the parliament go as usual without, of course, the ministers, uh, prime minister and home minister, and let the other procedure goes on like that, right? But parliament is not a place where you just come and gossip, or you just come and sort of do things according to the wishes of few ministers or maybe the wishes of the speaker. It's not like that. I mean, it's a site of accountability. And let me tell you, you see, if Rahul Gandhi is asking question, as the leader of the opposition party, it's not his personal question. The whole opposition is asking this question. Two questions are very important at the moment, which includes millions and millions of people of this country. One is temple theft. It's the question of faith. It's the question of propriety. It's the question of the legality of how temples would function. These are the real questions. And just think about those people who donated their gold, money, etc. They're feeling cheated, right? So this needs to be discussed in the parliament. Who is responsible? Why the government is evading if they are not responsible for it? They should come. They should come. Parliamentary democracy works on the principle of collective responsibility and individual responsibility both. It is both, right? So, uh, as far as individual responsibility is concerned, the minister is evading that. It's violation of the constitutional principle. The individual minister is violating the constitutional principle of individual accountability, which is very much there written in the constitution, right? And as we know that it's a Westminster model, so individual responsibility is tied up with the collective responsibility, which means that the ministers sink and swim together. If one is responsible, means the others are also responsible, and something needs to be done. So therefore these two issues, temple theft and the second one, which I think is at the moment the country is facing a larger crisis of faith, crisis of institutions, crisis of the whole parliamentary democracy, for that matter. This whole country is facing that. And Rahul Gandhi is simply asking that, give an answer. He is not saying that, I mean, he's just simply asking questions. The minister should come and give the answers, as simple as that, and then move on. But why this is not happening? Why this is not happening? So these two questions are, I think, are very, very important. And
Right.
and it is about fixing up of the accountability, right?
Absolutely.
In both the cases that you have mentioned, it's about fixing of the
You mean,
accountability.
right? No, it's everything hinges around the accountability factor. Coming to you, Javed, now, and I'm coming for the final round of comments. Now that in one case the accountability has been fixed as far as Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation is concerned, that has happened. Now, do you think that the opposition will lower its guards and agree for something like a delimitation bill? Obviously, Rahul Gandhi has categorically said no to Kiren Rijiju today. But is there a way out now for the government to find an exit route to this mess?
Like I said in my first submission, it's very easy. Let the Home Minister come to Parliament and face the debate and then try and defend the indefensible if he can. I can understand why he's not doing it. One, it's hubris. Two, it's a minefield. The people affected, maybe just six pellet gun victims and thousands of 500 or couple of thousand of people lathi charge. But this message that has gone across to Generation Z, or whatever you may call it, it's the youth, and they account for 40 crore votes in this country. It's not something that you can wish away. If he comes to Parliament and justifies the action, he runs the risk of antagonizing this 40 crore, and it's a huge political risk. If he comes to parliament and does not defend the force, then the very people he commands, they will have very little confidence in his authority and may not take orders from him. So it's a minefield that he has to negotiate,
Right.
and he has to, step very deftly at it. And of course, above all, is the hubris, is the arrogance that, how can we be? This government doesn't believe in conceding, in compromise, in the
Right.
very nature of compromise entails that you give in a bit, the opposition gives in a bit. They don't believe in this. So
Right.
far in 12 and a half years, we haven't seen them do this. This was the first time that Dharmendra Pradhan was forced to resign. So therefore, they're still trying to tough it out. It also remains to be seen on how long the opposition can hold out. If
Right.
the opposition can hold, because delimitation is very central to this government's, the increase of seats is central to this government's political strategy in 2029. And if the opposition can succeed in stymieing that, then things will be pretty difficult for this government going
Right.
forward in 2029. In addition to all the accumulated problems that they will have to answer for.
Absolutely. So, Rajalakshmi, it's like if they
May
do
I, may
their
I take your may I take your
yes.
leave because I have to go
Okay,
at
okay, Javed. Okay, thank you so much for joining. So, Rajalakshmi, coming to you, it's a situation where if they do, they are damned. If they don't do, they are damned further. Is this a situation that the government is actually facing?
No, I mean, in the sense, I mean, I think it's hubris, as Javed said, and also, they feel that it will sort of die down. They feel that they just don't have to say anything for a few days, and the issue will die down, and then the parliament session also gets over. I think within a week or so. But clearly, Niru, I was really shocked at in fact, the nature of the injuries that you just mentioned. The young man that he may become, paralytic. And I just hope that the Supreme Court, issues an order saying that the state should take over charge of his medical treatment and give him the best medical treatment, because he's been injured by the police. It's not that that it was a random skirmish that he got injured by. So I think the state should, I mean, I just hope that there is enough pressure put, and the Supreme Court does take cognizance of this. And other things, the whole thing about crowd, in fact, in management, it's not that the Delhi police is sort of new to this. There are rallies every year at it, and in fact 3-4 times a year when the parliament is in session, because it's that's the time when you can draw the attention of the MPs and you can flag issues in parliament. And so it's not that the Delhi police is new to crowd management, and therefore I mean, the truth is that it did everything on its front, okay, and including the home ministry, maybe shutting down metro stations, not allowing people to come to the protest site, in fact, picking them up from the railway stations itself. So many things were done to, in fact, to completely deflate the march to parliament. An alternative route could have been given, an alternative route, away from the central part, and instead of containment, as a strategy, they could have in fact deflected it, and they could have allowed them to march in another part of central India. I mean, this is just I'm saying that there were a zillion ways, Nehru. But I think the entire desire was to sort of clamp down, to create a law and order situation, because everything with this government is a matter of law and order, isn't it? I mean, a workers protest is an issue of law and order. And then you have the DCP who will in fact mediate between workers and the industry owners. This is what happened, in UP, a few weeks ago, in fact, months ago. So everything is seen, as a law and order thing to deal with. Okay, that is crackdown. And then obviously, people are not going to take it sort of beyond the point. I mean, ultimately, I think when it concerns, in fact, rosy roti,
Absolutely.
that I think I think they're dear to everybody.
Right.
It's not just the government. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'll come for the concluding comments now, Mr. Sood. What would you say to the situation now, which is evolving as far as the police crackdown is concerned? Very briefly, and then I'll go for the last comments to Tanveer. Yes.
police crackdown was in very bad taste. They were brutal in handling these protests. In fact, the government should have started the process of dialogue from the very beginning, from the moment they started assembling. This government does not believe in dialogue, and they do not believe in conceding to the demands like we have seen in last 12 years. This is the first occasion when when a minister has been made to resign. So what happens in future, insofar as Parliament is concerned, I think that impasse is going to stay on. This government, I mean, you look at the previous Parliament sessions. 90% of the times the Parliament assembles and it is adjourned. If not 90, at least 70% of the times it assembles, it gets adjourned. So unless
All right. I think there's some issue with the connectivity there. Okay, Tanvir. So, do you see any exit of through this logjam which we witnessed in Parliament for the last 3 weeks? Very briefly. Yeah.
No, no. I think this logjam would continue for some time. Let's see how it pans out. But the question of law and order, and then of course issuing the order verbally or non-verbally, that is the real question. One has to also understand the fact that Delhi is not a state, in the usual sense, like the other states are. So in federal system, the other states law and order is the subject of the state. It's not concurrent, it's not center. But Delhi is a very peculiar situation where law and order, partly also rests with the state and of course with the center, and with the double engine. It is very important to ask few questions. One is that if DCP ordered to use pellet guns, right, then what was the district collector, IAS, what was the district collector doing? Because district magistrate also has a role to play in law and order. What was the chief minister of Delhi doing? Because law and order also comes within her purview. So where is the chain of command? In usual state, the chain of command is sort of clearly laid down, and there are protocols that needs to be followed in law and order system. But in Delhi, because of multiplicity of chain of commands, it becomes it's really difficult to pinpoint that who actually ordered to use pellet guns and such kind of brutality. But it is nevertheless more important to at least find out, for the purpose of clarity and for the purpose of, let's say, a scholarship also, that how this happens. How this happens, that if there is a violence, somebody somewhere, who has given the order? Is it the chief minister who has given the order? Who has given the order? Let somebody come and say that, look, because DCP on its own cannot give orders of such kind when the situation did not warrant. Because then you have the real law and order comes within the purview of the district magistrate. District magistrate is also the sort of also looks into the law and order. So therefore, it's very. So I think Rahul Gandhi has raised a very pertinent question about fixing the accountability, particularly that who ordered. And of course, the students also would like to know. And I'm very sure that student, the Gen Z, they are watching all the debates, and for their clarity also, they are actually coming to know the fact that it wasn't the police, but somebody at the higher ups. And that also brings in a very important question that we should all must try to unravel, and that is the relationship between the minister, here home minister, and the bureaucracy, here I mean the police chief and the administrative chief. What is the relationship? How this pans out to be such kind of a brutal violence? Who has given the order, and why? Can a minister give order of such kind when the minister is not an expert in this field? So can minister give an order to shoot at sight? or let's say to use pellet guns. I mean, these are the real questions in administrative sciences. So
Absolutely.
I think it opens up a Pandora box of to unravel the real question that who should be held accountable.
Right. Well, let's wait and watch how things unfold. And does the government buckle in? How long can the opposition also sustain this campaign and continue to ask questions? We'll have to wait and watch. Thank you so much, Professor Tanveer. Lakshmi, thank you very much for joining.